So, being alone can be one of the best things that you can do. Um, Pretty much on a micro scale and a macro scale, being alone is really important for growth. And obviously, you can grow with people. You can grow alongside other people. You can grow because of people. But one of the best times in your life is when you know what to do and you're not obligated to anybody else. And there's something there's something about realizing when one of the people that you love the most in the whole world was holding you down, and that this person that you loved for so long was growing apart from you because they didn't want to grow in the same way that you did, and be better, but later, you know? And if you want to be better now, then it's hard to contend with someone who wants to be better later, who likes the idea of getting better, but they don't exactly want to in that kind of sense. Um, and sometimes it takes being alone, and sometimes it takes being by yourself to really explore that reality. And like I said, it can be one of the best things for you, but at the same time, not having the social side of life is and can be one of the worst things for you. If you don't have those experiences, if you don't have a group of friends that believe in the same things that you do, especially, and the important part of that is that they believe in the same things you do, and that they're really pushing you and they're telling you the truth and they're telling you when you're being a little um, sissy and when you're being easy or when you're not growing, when you're not at your potential. And there's something about having those kind of friends, but when you can't, it's and having those relationships, but when you can't, it's just it's better to be alone. Um, and sometimes it takes being alone, and sometimes it takes freeing up that space, that space in your life, whether it be in a romantic relationship where you have one space um, where you can slot someone in that's maybe going to be with you for the rest of your life, and they don't have the same outlook that you do, and that can hurt because maybe you love the person, you love the person that they are, but you don't love what they love, what they like, and that can be one of the most crushing realities you ever come to as a couple and as a person, as an individual, really, um, and it can be insanely troubling when you first figure it out, uh, and it's not fun. Um, when you but when you get to that point where you're finally alone and this slot's opened up and all the slots where all of your friends used to be, um where the friends that wanted to go do DJ and stuff and wanted to go drink and wanted to go party and wanted to do a bunch of instant gratification, a bunch of unhealthy crap. As soon as you open up those spots, you might feel lonely because you don't have the voice in your ear. Um, you don't have the moth. You don't have the validation that you used to have. But that's when you really learn to love yourself, and that's when you learn that you need other people, but not as much as you thought you did, and that you can become better by yourself, and that if you really push yourself to grow, and if you really want what you have, then you're gonna, if you really want what you want, you really want to chase after something that's worth chasing after, then part of that is going to be losing friends that you had when you were a different kind of person. And it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt a lot when you lose people to your passion. Um, but eventually, you're going to find people who want the same thing you want because the farther you delve into your goals, the farther you delve into what you want, the more people you're going to find there. And you know this because you become one of those people that other people are searching for. And it's magical. But for a while, you're going to feel kind of like crap and kind of lonely. And it's not going to feel right to to know to be with anybody else or whatever. But eventually you heal, um, and eventually you overcome that little step, and you become the person you actually want to be. Because the truth is, you weren't happy with those people, because what you were built for, what you were made for, wasn't being sought after. When you're with those people, it was um, something that you didn't want. Pretty much, it was there, and especially if you're quite an agreeable person, or especially if you find it hard to like deal with conflict or deal with people disagreeing with what you think because people have done it all your life, so you've kind of just figured out that if you don't say anything about them disagreeing with it, sure they'll walk all over you, but at least you're not getting hurt, right? But eventually you get walked over so many times, you get a footprint in your head. You know, you get a footprint on your chest, you get a million footprints all over you, and eventually it does start to hurt. That it's a crushing weight because it's not just the weight of one person walking on you. It's the weight of everyone who's ever walked over you in your entire life, and that's what being around people can do. Being around people who don't care what you want, being around people who don't care for the same things that you care for. And a lot of times, if you're a special person and if you want different things than a lot of people around you, that's just the way it's going to end up. Um, Especially wanting to conform, but at the same time wanting to be exceptional is an insane struggle. And the only the only solution the only solution to that is to find people who express exceptional qualities. There we go. Um, is to find people who express exceptional qualities and then fit in with them. Um, and people who expect excellence, because then you'll get both. You'll get the feeling of fitting in, and you'll get the feeling of being exceptional. And I don't mean like the feeling of being better than everybody, because that's not your goal, to feel like you're better than everybody and to think that. Um, Sorry, but it is the goal to be better, and it is the goal to be around better company and to be happy with who you are and be happy with the people you're spending your time with. And a lot of the times, that's not with the people you thought it was. You know, you thought these people were so great, and then you kind of learn. You know, you dig a little bit deeper, you get to know them better, and then eventually you find out, well, maybe they were just pretending to want things that I want because they love me and they didn't want to see me hurt. But it hurt more finding out that they didn't want the same things, you know. Uh, and a lot of the times you'll find that people have the best of intentions, but that they fall short, or even that in their good intentions they tell you lies, and they pretend to be someone they're not. You might even find out that you're pretending to be someone you're not. And that's the thing about being alone. It's just like when you're in hard times, it's you literally find out who you are. You find out who you really are and what you actually think about yourself without the outside perspective of anybody telling you who you are and what you want. And that's something that I've really come to like kind of explore in the last few months is like who am I? What do I want? And it's something that I've always kind of explored, something that I've always thought about, but recently it's been a big thing in my journaling, it just in my thought process is like I know who I don't want to be, and I know that you kind of are the culmination of the people you hang out with, and like life seems hard right now because I'm pretty much back to where I was last year. This time when I kind of null and void on a couple of things that were pretty important to me about last year, and I feel kind of bad about it. I even have the same like short hair as I did last year, and it kind of feels like a waste of a year, but it's it was when I was alone that I made the most progress. Well, actually, it wasn't. It was when I thought that someone else wanted the same things as I wanted. It was when I thought that I was working with somebody and not against them. And then when I realized that I was working against the person I love the most, who wasn't family, I stopped. Everything felt like crap, and I stopped having the motivation to do anything. Because when you go into battle with someone you love against someone you love, it's a different kind of feeling. 'Cause you always feel like you're losing that person. You always feel like they're losing you. Weirdly enough, you can kind of sense yourself being pulled away from them, and it's all about when the rope snaps. And sometimes the other person lets go. Yeah, sometimes the other person, they'll be like, yeah, the rope should go this way a little bit, and you pull the rope a little bit more, like, and y'all figure it out, and y'all end up wanting the same goal. But a lot of the times, I shouldn't say a lot of the times, it just doesn't happen like that. The rope snaps, and both of you end up falling, and you're upset that you fell, but you're relieved that you don't have to pull on your rope anymore, and that you can go in the direction you wanted to. And that's probably why being alone can be so important, is because it allows you to find someone, find a group of people, find whoever that wants to move their rope in the same direction, and instead of playing tug of war, and they want to live that way with you. And some people, they want to go. Doesn't matter, but the point is that being alone is incredibly important because once you're alone, you don't feel obligated to take care of other people. You don't feel obligated to go out of your way to do things to make someone happy. It's just about you. And sometimes it has to just be about you. And being alone teaches you who you are, just like being in hard times. Um, teaches you who you are and who you want to be because you spend a lot of time thinking about it and a lot of time building who you are. Um, and man, these allergies are killing me. And you also, it's just, it's about where you want to go, and if the people in your life, the people who you choose to have in your life, are in line with that. Because if they're not, then even though you might love them, you might spend your whole life trying to pull them to your side when they want to go to their side. And then obviously, if one of you doesn't concede, and if one of you doesn't say, give up their side or move in the same direction willingly, or whatever, the rope snaps and you're done. And that was kind of the case with me. But it's all right, you know, because bright future ahead and getting better, wanting to get better is the most important thing. I'll get that down. But wanting to get better is the most important thing you can do. It's the first step, and it's the most important one. See ya.